I've always learned about racism in this country that has been going on for hundreds of years. But since the Trayvon Martin case of 2012, I have seen a blatant disregard for black lives on the street with law enforcement and behind podiums with prosecutors and judges. But recently, there has been an increase of unrest concerning this matter from all races. We may just may be on the brink of a revolution. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. What does those names mean to you? To me, they're just numbers 10 and 11. The 10th and 11th black unarmed people I have seen in the news to die at the hands of those who swore to protect and serve them. They are more than numbers, though. They are American citizens murdered in brutality. You may try to find justification for this and why this is acceptable, but ask yourself, what if this was my family? What if this is my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, or my friend? Would that same observation apply? The truth is, these things are happening to these American citizens, and it could easily happen to your mother, your father, your friends, your family, or even you. I'm a black man living in America, and I have had family and friends who has been victims of police brutality in the ever-failing criminal justice system. Let's talk about the murder of George Floyd. In the summer of 2020, police officer Derek Chauvin was filmed with his knee in the back of George Floyd's neck while Floyd was screaming, "I can't breathe." According to the New York Times, George Floyd was at a convenience store, and the convenience store owner called 911 because he suspected that George Floyd was trying to use a counterfeit $20 bill. In the same article, we learned that 17 minutes after police arrived on the scene, George Floyd was unconscious. The whole ordeal was filmed by bystanders and security cam. And according to the videos, Derek Chauvin was in direct violation of the Metropolitan Police policy. Now, while this thing is just heinous and appalling, it gets even worse. What if your loved one was fatally shot in their sleep by law enforcement? And to add insult to injury, what if the assailant was only charged with the bullets that did not hit your loved one? Let's talk about the murder of Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor was a 26-year-old African-American woman sleeping in her apartment when law enforcement shot at her, killing her, according to BBC News. She was suspected of using her apartment to sell drugs and receive drugs by a local gang about 10 miles away. And one of the gang members of this local gang happens to be her ex-boyfriend. But in the most appalling aspect of this case, none of the cops were charged except one, and he wasn't charged with her murder. He was charged with the bullets that could have hit her neighbor. This type of thing in our country keeps happening. It keeps happening and happening. And these last two murders that I just spoke about may be the straw that broke the camel's back. Because all around the world you see protests about people in protest for black lives and why they matter. And to end police brutality. So the question now becomes, what will you do when you see this happening? Would you add to the cause? Would you march? Would you hold up a sign and protest? Accountability is what we're looking for. We're looking to hold law enforcement account. Are you willing to hold law enforcement accountable for deadly force? I can only hope and pray that the outcry for mere human decency will advocate change in this country. Thank you.